Good evening. My name is Avi Brown, and I'm here from the Anti-Cruelty Society. For 109 years, we have provided an open door for Chicago's animals in need. Our mission of preventing cruelty to animals and advancing humane education is evident in all our work, and over the next several weeks, on Thursdays at 5:30, you will learn about us through this live, interactive call-in television program brought to you by TV21. During the next 25 minutes, we're going to discuss the various humane education presentations that Anti-Cruelty does for children and community groups, and we invite you to call in with your questions at 312-738-1060. Our phone lines are now open. Now, my human guest with me today is Elliot Serrano. He is a humane educator at the Anti-Cruelty, and he's going to explain all the different classes that he teaches. But before we get started, I want to introduce our pet guest today, little Bradley. Now, this is Bradley. He's an adorable little 8-week-old Rottweiler Shepherd mixed puppy available for adoption at the Anti-Cruelty Society. Bradley, his 5 siblings, and their mother came to the shelter when the pups were only 2 weeks old. Our staff helped care for mom and babies until they were old enough for adoption, and Bradley's the only one left. He is fun and an intelligent young pup who is good with slightly older children and good with other dogs. Now, Bradley's tab band number is 674349, and he is waiting for his forever home in the dog adoption room at Anti-Cruelty. Thank you, Bradley. So, welcome to the show, Elliot.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, you're a humane educator. What exactly is humane education?
Well, humane education is basically a program where the Anti-Cruelty Society tries to introduce humane concepts in animal care to school children and really anyone who's interested in the topic. These days, you might even call it character education because a lot of it goes into developing empathy, problem-solving skills, more than just learning, how you should feed your puppy or your kitty.
Excellent. So what kind of programs do you have for the younger children from about kindergarten to about 2nd grade?
Well, with kindergarten and 2nd grade, we have the basic programs, and this is where I say we really get into the most primary concepts in humane education. With kindergarten kids, we have one presentation that we call Sharing Sam, and in Sharing Sam, we bring a flannel board into the classroom, and we tell a story of a doggy named Sam that needs a home, and the kids, help the educator tell the story and say all the different things that Sam needs to be happy, healthy, and safe. And we'll take little pieces like a food bowl, a water dish, a bed, all those things that maybe you and I might think right off the bat our pets need, but unfortunately there are a lot of kids who don't even think about it. There are a lot of adults that don't think about that their pets need food and water. So that's basically the core of the program, getting them to know the basics of it. So Sharing Sam would be the first thing that we do, let's say with kindergarten kids that we're just trying to introduce the humane education. And then we have the Bite Free program, which is very popular. In fact, I went to a school today where we did that program, where we introduce the kids to the concepts of how to stay safe around dogs and how to be safe with strays as well as their pets at home, because a lot of folks might not know this, but the #1 victim of animal bites in the United States are young children. And young children are usually bitten because they don't know the appropriate way to behave around the dog. So with Bite Free, we try to show these kids really the best way to interact with their pets. If they have a puppy, the best way to pick up that animal. And we even bring a virtual pet into the classroom. Wow. That the kids get to interact with and demonstrate all the things that they've learned. My pet is Nifter, and he's a very popular dog. He's kind of grumpy and says things that the kids laugh at all the time, but it makes the program interesting. The kids have fun with it.
Excellent. So about for 3rd and 4th graders, you teach a class based on our film A New Friend for Life. Why don't you tell us what that's about?
Well, A New Friend for Life is one of our more popular films. This is the movie that we created to give an overall primer on pet care. The Anti-Cruelty Society is very adamant that kids should know how to take care of a pet, but that a family realizes that it is a family responsibility. One of the biggest mistakes that some families make is that they get, let's say, a puppy or a kitten, and they expect the 6-year-old child to be the caretaker of the animal. And while it's fine for a child to try to learn some responsibility and maybe feeding from time to time, cleaning the litter box, maybe taking the puppy for a walk, the whole family should be involved in that process. And we address that in A New Friend for Life. And we also try to reinforce that when you get a puppy or a kitten, it should be a friend for life, meaning the entire life of the animal, not until the kids get bored with it, not until the animal gets too big to care for. It's a friend. It should be really a friend for life, which is why we put it in the name.
Excellent. Well, that makes sense. Okay, so how about for 5th and 6th graders, you show the video called Protecting the Web. What does that teach them?
Well, with Protecting the Web, first, when we're getting into 5th and 6th grade, we're talking about kids who can handle more advanced concepts. With 5th and 6th graders, you really don't want to talk down to them, and they understand a lot of the basics when it comes to animal care. So with Protecting the Web, we try to introduce outside of just dealing with our pets. Actually, Protecting the Web is one of our first environmentally based films. I mean, we talk about not only the pets that we live with, but nature in general. How do you handle living in a society where you share your home with all kinds of animals, not just dogs and cats? We talk a little bit about how human development encroaches into different areas of nature. You know, deforestation. Some animals might lose their natural habitat because we're looking for our own needs. So with Protecting the Web, we try to enforce that, yes, while human needs are important, it's important also to consider the entire picture when it comes to nature. The web itself is a reference to the natural ecosystem that our planet Earth is comprised of. And we're trying to open kids to the concept that, you know, while human needs are important, there are sometimes we should also consider other needs as well.
That's an excellent point. So now for these middle school kids, you have several videos to choose from. Why don't you tell us about some of those?
Well, actually, because the Anti-Cruelty Society has been making movies for quite some time, and we have A New Friend for Life. We have Protecting the Web. We also created other films such as The Power of Compassion, One Last Fight, Exposing the Shame, and these are all movies that are themed differently. The Power of Compassion talks about essentially the role that animal shelters play in society and how they help people learn compassion and how to demonstrate compassion. And at one point in the film, we don't just talk about animals, but we also talk about exhibiting compassion towards other people, specifically victims of violence, domestic violence, and homeless folk. So we're trying to say here that compassion is not just restricted to one species. It doesn't mean, you know, compassion should not be limited to just creatures with 4 legs. It can apply to people with 2 legs too. And then another film that I forgot to mention, which is our most recent one, is called Making a Difference, which addresses the success that animal shelters have had with high spay-neuter programs, where we are actually now seeing a decrease in the number of animals that are being turned into animal shelters because we've really been pushing spaying and neutering our pets. So there are a lot of different concepts that we can introduce, a lot of different things that we can deal with in a classroom. The great thing about our films is because they deal with such a wide range of topics. If a teacher really wants to deal with a specific issue in their classroom, maybe there's one of the more common things that we've been getting requests for has been One Last Fight, which deals with dog fighting, and teachers have been using that in conjunction with reading White Fang, the Jack London book, where those who might be familiar with White Fang would know that Fang was a dog that was used in the fighting ring. It was a hybrid, wolf hybrid that was used in the fighting ring, and teachers are using that piece of literature in conjunction with our film to try to bring across the idea that animals can't just be used for whatever purpose we would like to use them for.
Excellent.